Today we're going to be reading Grandpa's Soup by Iko Kadono. What guesses can you make about what's going to happen in the book based on the cover? Think they're going to be cooking something? Okay. After Grandma died, Grandpa was all alone. He felt too sad to do anything. Every day he would drink the milk that the milkman brought to his house, eat the bread that he bought at the store, and then just sit by himself. Every day, day after day, was the same. Then one day, Grandpa woke up and said to himself, "I want to eat hot soup. I want to eat again the meatball soup that my dear wife used to make for me." Grandpa had 5 pots in his kitchen, all lined up on a shelf from biggest to smallest. "Maybe I can make the meatball soup myself. Since it will be just for me, this little pan will be big enough," Grandpa said, reaching for the smallest pot. "My wife used to sing when she made me this soup," he remembered. "Boil the water, roll the meatballs round, drop them in the water, plop, add a little salt and pepper, add a little butter." That's what she used to sing. So Grandpa went to the market and bought ground meat and cooked his first batch of soup. My meatball soup is done." Just as Grandpa said that, he heard small footsteps outside his door. Tip, tip, tip. When Grandpa opened the door, there stood 3 mice. "It smells so good," they said, their 3 little noses twitching with excitement. Grandpa poured soup into 3 little saucers for the mice. Sip, sip, sip. The mice licked the saucers clean. "Thank you," they said, and went home. Only a little bit of soup was left in the pot. Grandpa put it in his bowl and ate it. Then, tipping his head to one side, he said, "My wife's soup tasted much better than this. I wonder why?" The next day, Grandpa took the second smallest pot from the shelf. "Even if the mice come again, this pot will hold enough for them and for me." Now, what did my wife sing again? "Boil the water, roll the meatballs round, drop them in the water, plop." Then, oh yes, she would sing, "Add some potatoes after taking off their skin, add a little salt and pepper, add a little butter." I used to love to hear her sing like that. So Grandpa went to the market for ground meat, some small potatoes, and then went home and cooked the soup. Have you guys ever followed a recipe before? Cooked anything like brownies or soup? "Oh, good. My soup is done," said Grandpa. Just then he heard small footsteps outside his door. Tip, 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 tip. He opened the door and found the 3 mice from yesterday and a cat. They said, "It smells so good." "Oh my," said Grandpa. "What a surprise to see a mice and a cat come together." "When we have good food," said the mice and the cat, "we are good friends." "I see," said Grandpa. "So I guess you want to eat together." Grandpa put soup into 3 saucers and a small bowl, 3 saucers for the mice and a small bowl for the cat. Sip, 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 lap. The mice and cat finished their soup, said thank you, and went home. Do you think Grandpa likes this company? "Again today there is only a little bit of soup left in the pot. I should have cooked more," said Grandpa. Grandpa put the rest of the soup into his bowl and ate it. Then he tipped his head to one side and sighed, "My wife's soup tasted much better than this. I wonder why?" The next day, Grandpa took the 3rd smallest pot from his shelf. "Even if the mice and the cat come again, this pot should be large enough, and there will be some soup left for me, too. Now, my dear wife used to sing, 'Boil the water, roll the meatballs round, drop them in the water, plop, add some small potatoes after taking off their skin.' Then, I'm remembering now. Chop some tiny onions, drop them in, add a little salt and pepper, add a little butter." So Grandpa went to the market, bought ground meat, small potatoes, and tiny onions, and started cooking the soup. "Now my meatball soup is ready," said Grandpa, just as he heard some small footsteps again outside his door. Tip, 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 click. Opening the door, he found the mice, the cat, and a dog standing there. "That smells so good," they said. "Oh, I see that you are all good friends," said Grandpa. So Grandpa poured soup for all of them. 3 saucers for the mice, a small bowl for the cat, a medium-sized bowl for the dog. Sip, 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 lap, gulp. The mice, the cat, and the dog ate their soup and said, "Thank you," and went home. This day again, only a little bit of soup was left in the pan. Grandpa poured it into his bowl, ate it, and said, "I should have cooked more." Then, tipping his head, he said, "My dear wife's soup was much better than this. I wonder why." Why do you think her soup was better? Is he missing an ingredient? The next day, Grandpa took his biggest pan, not even bothering with the 4th biggest, off the shelf. "This has to be big enough. Even if the mice, the cat, the dog, and someone else come, there will be some left for me. Now let me remember again what my wife used to sing. Boil the water, roll the meatballs round, drop them in the water, plop. Add some potatoes. After taking off their skin, chop some tiny onions, drop them in." Oh yes, she would sing about carrots too. "Slice some carrots nice and thin, add a little salt and pepper, add a little butter." Grandpa went to the market for ground meat, small potatoes, tiny onions, and thin carrots. Then he started cooking. "Well, the meatball soup is ready," said Grandpa. Again he heard footsteps outside his door. Tip, 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 click, clomp. Opening the door, Grandpa found the mice, the cat, the dog, and a boy standing there. "That smells so good," they said. "So," Grandpa said, "you are all good friends today, too. Let me treat you to some soup." "Is that all right? Is it really all right?" asked the boy with a delighted smile. "Of course," said Grandpa, beaming. "I cooked meatball soup in such a large pot that there is enough for everyone. Please come in and eat as much as you like." Then the boy turned around and shouted, "Come on, everyone, stop hiding! The Grandpa's going to treat us to soup." Clomp, 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 clomp. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 more children came running into the house. "Well, well," said Grandpa, a little surprised, but right away he counted them all again, just to be sure, and took out saucers and bowls for everyone. 3 saucers for the mice, a little bowl for the cat, a medium-sized bowl for the dog, and 10 big bowls for the children. Then he poured out soup for each of them. Sip, 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 lap, gulp, slurp, 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 slurp. "Grandpa, why don't you eat with us?" asked the children. Grandpa looked into the pot and saw that, again today, only a little bit of soup was left. "Okay," said Grandpa, "let's all eat together." And Grandpa poured the last of the soup into his bowl and ate. "It's good, it's delicious," said Grandpa. "Finally, it tastes just like the soup my dear wife used to make." Then with a smile he said, "Tomorrow I will cook the soup using all of my pots."